And I look atrocious on both of these camera angles. That's lovely. One day I'm going to set up cameras where I don't look terrible, but apparently today is not that day. Hello, hello. This is the first time I'm ever using the Twitch account, so if you guys can see this, if you're on Twitch, say something, and if I don't respond, I've probably messed it up. It's entirely likely that that's the thing that's happened. Okay, I'm going to give it a couple of minutes before we actually start. As the description of the video said, today is basically going to be a case of really simple how to put a home workout together. And the big reason for this is a lot of the guys have contacted me and basically said things along the lines of, I know I should be working out at home, but I don't know what I should be doing, or how to structure it. So that's what this is basically. This is us putting this together. And it isn't specifically for, obviously, a lot of the HCC and Reverse guys that asked me to do this, but it's not specifically for them. This is very much a basic. Here's how to put a workout together for anyone, and it's not a specially targeted one. So if you are literally like, I've done nothing in lockdown and I need to start doing something, this is a pretty good starting point, and it's a very generalized one. It should work for everyone, so that's kind of why we're starting. But like I say, I will give the guy another couple of minutes to find the live stream. God, they're not great. When it comes to online meetings and stuff, they're not. Okay. Oh, Twitch is working. Thank you, Jake. Okay, that's fine. Now I've seen a comment from Twitch filter through to this that you can't see that I'm working on. That's good. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at, like I said, basic home workouts, how to put them together, what they should comprise of. And I'm not talking about specific exercises here. I'm talking more about how you divide the time up, how you make sure you're targeting all of your general fitness. And yeah, it's a very broad overview, but to get things started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a decal up so you don't have to look at my horrible face where I've been working. I have literally just finished working out. And this is basically what we're going to be going over today. So this is what a basic home workout or any workout should look like. So this is the typical type of workout that in total takes about an hour, and it's the kind of general full body. This is how we structure things. And even when we're not in lockdown and you're working out in the gym, it's very similar. You've just obviously got more options and equipment open to you when you're in a gym environment. So first thing that is on there is warm up, and you'll see from, can I point? Not really. You'll see from what's on there, basically warm up 5 to 10 minutes. RPE4. Now I'm just going to explain what RPE4 means. The guys are used to me saying this. They're used to me using RPE. We use it a lot in training. And it's basically a way of communicating how hard you're working out. RPE, there's a couple of different scales, but we use 1 to 10. So if you imagine that number 1 is like I am now. I'm sat down, I've got a drink, I'm talking. I'm not particularly putting much work into life. That would be RPE 1. RPE 10 at the other end of the scale is like, I have put in maximum effort. I can't possibly continue to stand up anymore, let alone exercise. I'm absolutely exhausted, totally at my limit. That would be RPE 10. So that scale of 1 to 10, how hard are you working? It's just a good way of working out how much effort you're putting into exercises. A lot of times in a gym environment, if you've got monitors on or you're using machines, people will talk about heart rate percentages, or what if you're doing resistance work, 1 lift max percentages. But RPE it's just a really simple, easy way to do it. So that's what we're going to use for this. So start of the workout, warm up, 5 to 10 minutes, RPE 4. So you're not working particularly hard, but you know, you're feeling it a little bit. And your warm-up is what we call range of motion exercises, which is basically literally just moving your joints. Some time ago, people would do a lot of static stretches, so standard stretch at the beginning of workouts tends not to be done anymore. It's not really that beneficial. And what they tend to do is literally just move all of your joints. And that is purely because it needs to get something called synovial fluid in them. It just means you're not putting undue stress on your joints when you're working out. So yeah, range of motion and raising your heart rate a little bit. Now, because the next thing to do on this list is cardio, which ideally you would do for 10 to 20 minutes, a lot of the warm-up exercises are kind of just lower intensity versions of cardio. So if you were in a gym, for example, I would do a 10-minute warm-up on a treadmill, and then I'd jump across to a cross trainer to do my cardio. What you can do at home, because obviously you've got slightly more limited options, is you can do the same exercise, you can just take the intensity up. Like if that's it, if you don't have any equipment and you're just going to go out for a run, take it nice and slowly, make sure you're moving all of your joints carefully but consistently for the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then take it up a notch and go into your cardio. Your cardio should be RPE 5 to 8. And again, that's based on your own fitness level. If you're literally just starting out, you don't want to like kill yourself. You don't be aiming for the top of that range. If you know, and again, everybody's different. What, you know, a 5-minute walk to the shops will take some people to RPE 8 if they haven't done any exercise for a long time, and that's fine. It's working to your own limit. And there's just some examples in there of things you can do: jogging, rowing. You've got a rowing machine at home. Skipping is a good one. People always forget this. It's a good one too if you've got kids in the house as well when you're trying to work out. If you've got a cross trainer, brilliant. Cycling, always a good one. Jake, I know you're watching this because you've commented, and I know you're big into your cycling. Your warm-up and cardio is dead easy there. That's taken care of in a lot of ways. Now, the next one we're going to go into is resistance. Now, this is the one where people get a little bit lost and they're like, what am I doing? And the reason for this is because obviously if you go into a gym, you've got a plethora of resistance machines that you can work from, and that's a good thing, because the resistance machines, if you're just getting started out, are actually safer in a lot of ways. They tend to target specific muscles. The movements don't require as much, skills, the wrong word, but ability, as using free weights. Now we're in a home situation. Free weights tend to be the go-to because it's easier. Obviously, putting 20 different resistance machines in your house, not a thing a lot of people are going to be able to do. However, having a few free weight pieces of equipment, even if it's just dumbbells or kettlebells, even if you haven't got them, body weight exercises, sit-ups, press-ups, squats, lunges, they're all resistance exercises. And ideally, do about half a dozen different ones. Again, if you're really just starting out and you're like, no, I'm only going to be able to do 4, that's fine. Just do 4 different ones, especially if you've limited body weight. But I would say between 6 and 10 different ones tends to be a good shout. Now, The other thing to consider with resistance exercises, and one of the biggest things that questions come in on, is what am I doing with sets and reps? How many sets should I do? How many reps should I do? And a lot of this depends on what you're actually trying to achieve through your training. So a lot of this comes down to what your personal goals are. Now, when I'm talking to a lot of the combat team guys, we tend to go for endurance sets. Now, just to give you an idea, and again, this is a very general overview, but it should help. 3 different types of sets on here. Endurance down at the bottom there, hypertrophy sets in the middle, and then strength at the top. Basic meanings of these things. Endurance type workouts help how long your muscles are able to work for. Hypertrophy type workouts make your muscles bigger. They actually build muscle structure, so you get bigger muscles. Strength is how efficiently and how much maximum kind of force your muscles are able to generate, and it's that kind of training. So basically, endurance means how long you can be strong for. Hypertrophy means how big your muscles are, and strength means how strong your muscles are. And again, that's a massive generalization, because people are like, well, do endurance and hypertrophy training not make your muscles strong? And they do make them stronger, but it's in a slightly different way. I tend to set a lot of the guys sets and reps somewhere between endurance and hypertrophy. And the reason for this is purely the sport that they're doing and when they're doing displays. If they're doing fight, they're not kind of, they're probably going to have more than one fight in that day. Rounds last 1 minute for duels, but you don't know how many rounds you're going to be pulled into. And boohoo is alone to himself. It's not, but you get my meaning. You have to be able to consistently keep working muscles. So starting somewhere around endurance and hypertrophy tends to be a good general shout for the type of fitness that the guys need to do. Now, that's not to say you can't do strength training. If you know, again, going back to the example of the combat guys, if you know you are only fighting in boohoo and you're going to be pulled in for 1 round with a halberd and you just need to put it through someone's skull, don't actually do that. It's massively unsafe. But you get my meaning. Then yeah, doing strength training and being able to really deliver the blows with it, great, fantastic. But don't kind of neglect the rest of the training as well. So the other thing is, people see these as a progression, and they kind of are. If you haven't done any exercise for forever and a day, and you're just coming into starting to do resistance work, start doing endurance. If you get a good foundation, you've been doing well with your endurance workouts for, several weeks. And I don't mean like one day you nail it and then you're like, right, I've done a whole week's worth of training. We're gonna go. Give it at least kind of like, normally we talk about 12-week cycles in training, and we shorten them down to little 4-week blocks. You're going to want to do at least a couple of those blocks before you start really changing the type of training you're doing. I mean, if you can progress it and regress it. If you're using a particular weight and it's too easy, you can up it. Or if it's really too hard and you're struggling to complete your set, you can drop it. But in terms of type of training you're doing, you're not going to want to change that every 5 minutes. You're going to want to make sure you've progressed and are comfortable before you do. So if you haven't done any exercise, you haven't done any resistance training for a long time, start with endurance. Once you get that good, okay, I'm happy that I can I've got that decent foundation there. I can consistently use my muscles for an entire workout, and they're okay. Nothing terrible has happened. Then start looking at moving into hypertrophy. And then once you're really comfortable with hypertrophy, start looking at strength. The reason why you do that, it's like functional fitness. You don't, hypertrophy training is building muscle structure. It's putting more muscle tissue into your body. And if you don't do that, then trying to make, jumping straight to strength training when you're trying to make that muscle tissue work harder and more efficiently and make it denser. If it's not there in the first place, you haven't put it there with hypertrophy training, it doesn't work. So I'm rambling. I'm going to try and keep this consistent. So yeah, these are your three main types of resistance training. There's nothing to say you have to move through them though. I'm probably never really going to do a lot of strength training. I'm quite happy with endurance and hypertrophy sets because that's kind of the type of training I like to do. It's the type of training that I think is going to be effective for the sports and stuff and activities I'm doing. I've said that now. I'll decide I'm going to do strength training in a couple of months just to make a lie of myself. But that's, you can stop at any one level. And again, depending on what you're aiming for. Revers guys, HCC guys, endurance and hypertrophy, ideally. If you want to do strength, crack on, brilliant. Like, do it in addition, but please focus on those. And you can see that. So you've got, going through them, you've got the number of reps, the number of sets, the RPE you should be working at, and the rest time between sets. So a general endurance set, for example, so you've got between 20 and 10 reps. So you could say for an endurance set, you're going to do 12 reps, you're going to do 3 sets, and the weight that you should be working at, or the amount of resistance that you are using, should be somewhere between 5 and 7 RPE. Between each of those sets, you're going to give yourself 45 to 90 seconds. And you can see how those figures translate for the other types of sets as well. What you'll notice is as the reps go down, the sets go up, and the rest time also goes up. That's basically because if you look at the RPE on the strength can go to 10. It can be people, lifting their one weight max. And if you do lift at that level, you're going to want to rest afterwards, and you're not going to be able to do it more than once. That is the definition of a 1 rep max. You're going to do it once, and then you're going to need to stop for a little while. So that's why they're structured like that. But this is a basic good way to do this. If you're sat looking at this going, I'm not going to remember, don't worry. This video, although it's live now, it will be going out as a recorded video and up as a recorded video, so you can refer back to these figures. And people are like, can you mix and match them? And do you have to do all of your sets in one, all your resistance exercises in one workout is one of these set things? And no, because I mix endurance and hypertrophy a lot. For example, most of my body weight sets are endurance. When I go into free weights, it's usually in hypertrophy. And that's because it is hard at the point I'm at now to do, unless I get weighted vest, which I am going to do, but without putting on things like weighted vests and things like that, it's hard to get my RPE up above kind of 5 to 7 without massively increasing the rep range, which it starts to get a bit insane. So yeah, you can mix them. That's fine. Just be aware of which one you are doing, that each exercise falls within one of those criteria, that you're not kind of doing, reps, 3 reps and like only leaving 45 seconds in between them and working at RP 10. It's like, yeah, you couldn't do that, but you get my, make sure each exercise falls within one of those, but you can mix them between the different exercises. So you can do one exercise as one type of training, another exercise as another type, as long as each individual exercise falls within a set category. I think that makes sense. I'm listening to myself going, am I explaining this? I hope I am. But yeah, I've put this nice little grid together. If you want to look online, if you literally Google different types of resistance training, you will get much more complicated ones than these. This is as simple as I could possibly make this for you. So that's how to work out your resistance training. And as I said, your resistance training, if you've got free weights at home, fabulous. If you're using body weight, that's great. There's a lot of different ones you can do. I'm not going to go into specific individual exercises because we could be here all night. However, most of you in here are on the Discord or on the Facebook page, or you're in the comments section now. So once I've done rambling, you can just ask me questions. But yeah, this is how to structure those resistance exercises. Now, so that is the resistance part. So we've covered warm-up, we've covered cardio, we've covered resistance. Cool down. Now, this isn't stretching. Everyone thinks cool down is flexibility. It's not. Cool down is lowering your heart rate back to it's often defined as a pre-exercise level, because often after cool down, people then go to do core flexibility, where even though it's very low impact, you are still moving. I like to put it as RPE 2. A lot of people would say it should be 1, but it's basically taking your heart rate, dropping it back down, kind of bringing you back to that sort of pre-exercise state of tiredness. And that, again, a lot of people will go back to cardio. When I'm a cardio exercise, to be honest, if you're in the house or if you've been out doing things in a park or on the beach, or you can literally just walk around. Just if a decent pace to walk or a slow jog is enough for just 5 minutes, just to slowly bring it down. In a gym situation, I literally always jump on a recline cycle because I just do. I just do. But yeah, as long as it's something where you're still physically moving, because when you finish that resistance workout, your RPE could be anywhere between 5 and 10, and just stopping is not a good idea. It can do all sorts of things with your blood distribution in your body. So you're going to want to bring it down in a controlled way, which is what we use that cool down for. After cool down, you'll see I've put core in brackets. Now, the reason I've put this in brackets is when you are putting a workout together for someone, you always have to have some kind of a core strength element. Now, personally, when I'm doing workouts at home, I don't do a separate core exercise at this point. And that's because during my resistance work, I've done body weight exercises, which I know exercise my core. I do Supermans, I do sit-ups, squats, lunges, or I do a lot of body weight work. And that I know exercises my core enough for me not to have to put an additional one in there. If the place where this tends to come into the forefront is more if you're working with someone who hasn't done a lot of exercise recently or is just starting out, their resistance work is probably going to be, it'll be body weight exercises predominantly, or like resistance bands and things. And because you're being quite careful and targeted with the work that you're doing at that level, you mightn't necessarily get a decent core workout just through the general exercises. So if you are just starting out, or you specifically want to put some extra core in there, it doesn't hurt. Like, doing extra core exercises is never going to do you any harm. Things like dead bugs, planks, 4-point boxes. I will do a separate video where I demonstrate dead bugs and 4-point boxes. You can, there's 100 videos on YouTube if you want to Google them. I know the guys who've done Reverse training will know what a dead bug is, because that's where we learned how little coordination some of them had. Planks, you guys, I'm guessing probably all know what a plank is. If you have blood pressure issues, please don't do planks. If you have blood pressure issues, you should talk to a doctor before doing any kind of exercise, new exercise regime. But if you know you have blood pressure, high blood pressure specifically, please stay away from planks. They can cause a few issues. And then on to flexibility, which is the traditional static stretches held for at least 15 seconds. Normally, if I'm doing flexibility at the end of a workout or a training session, we hold them for 20. We count up to 10 at which point the muscles, even though you went initially to full stretch, feel as if they relax a little, and you can normally put an extra little bit stretch on it. And then we count down from 10. It's called progressive stretching. There are other types of stretching which is more effective, but in a home workout situation, I would not recommend them because they involve a partner, and if they do it slightly wrong, you can cause injuries, which nobody wants. So good static stretches held for at least 15 seconds is a key thing to do. And again, there's lots of different stretch routines. I normally, if someone says what should I look up if I don't know what I'm doing and I need to see someone show me all the stretches, I actually normally Google martial arts stretch. Can't speak tonight. Martial arts stretch routines. I am going to do a video of the stretch routine. Actually, I'm going to get Scarlett. I'm going to get Tiny to do the video, the stretch routine that we normally do at the end of training to put up. So you've got one to refer to. And yeah, so that's, again, that is your basic structure of a workout there. And again, this normally takes about, this is a general 60-minute one workout if you follow this. I've literally just done it tonight and it took me 57 minutes, although I did cut my flexibility short a little bit, which I need to address before I sit down for too long. But yeah, other points on home workouts. First of all, please stay hydrated, please. I know you hear kind of trainers and things saying, oh, it's really important to stay hydrated, and everyone's like, yeah, because you can get dehydrated. I don't think a lot of people appreciate how much damage dehydration can actually do to your body, especially when you're working out. It can lead to things, all sorts of things going wrong with muscles that aren't easily fixed. So please stay hydrated. And look, if we are going to, I am going to do a video that goes over, not diet, I hate the word diet, you know I hate the word diet, but it's basically going to go over what different nutrients do different stuff in your body, your macros, your carbs, your protein, your fats, and why you should be aware of how many you're eating and how that works with exercise. We are going to do that as another video in a couple of weeks, but this is your basic, that's how to put a workout together. Now, as I say, I will put this video up as a recording. Yeah, the headaches are actually one of the more minor ones, without getting too, because I know you don't like it when I go on my science rambles. But things like muscle detachment and stuff can happen if you're working out and you're too dehydrated, and that's like a surgical thing to fix sometimes. Headaches are at the more milder end of the issues that can crop up, and it's just being aware. I mean, I cut my normal workout now is about 1:20, and it took 57 minutes tonight because I had to cut it short because I had a unusual, no, it wasn't unusual, a unplanned reaction to some supplements at the weekend that messed me up a little bit, and as a result, still slightly dehydrated. So yeah, being aware of yourself. There's a saying with workouts which I hate, which is no pain, no gain, which is absolute bollocks. No hard work, no gain. But if something physically starts to hurt, stop. Like, seriously, don't. Yeah, if something physically hurting, no, stop. Don't keep going. And you get to know, the more you exercise, the more you get to know that. I started my workout tonight and I was like, there is something not quite right with my back. And I know what it is. It's an existing issue. It's fine. But going in the workout, I was like, maybe fine. Maybe it won't. It wasn't. So I just was careful, didn't do certain exercises. And you get to know, you trust you. If the thought ever enters your head of, I'm not sure if this is okay, stop. Don't. Always err on the side of caution until you've checked with either a trainer or a medical professional of some type. I don't, as much as I want you all exercising at home, I don't want anyone getting injured through exercising at home. But yes, so those are the graphics that I lovingly put together for you. And that's it. It's not any more complicated than that. And you can pick simple activities from each of those. How often you should be doing them. I would say you want to be doing that style of home workout that lasts about an hour, at least 2 to 3 times a week. If you're just starting out, 2 times a week is fine. If you've been exercising for a while, 3, 4. I tend to do it 4 times a week. I do my general workout 4 times a week, and then I do either a long walk or a jog on my down days, and have one day where I totally do nothing. But again, this is why we say do the fitness diary sheets, which you can download from the Discord server, or record your workouts in some other way, because if you're keeping track of that information and something's not working, or you're not seeing results, or you're just like, I'm just not enjoying this, I don't know where to go from here, you've got the information to look back on, and you can start to look at patterns, and you can start to look at tweaking things. And it is good to sometimes just go back and look through things. When I was doing the graphics for this morning, I was looking at it going, I need to change my sets around. And it's purely just because I hadn't looked through the actual figures for a while. What I was doing was fine. I was like, actually, I can make that a bit better if I swap some of these numbers around a bit. And it does pay to keep going back for it. So what I will do is I'm going to go. Has anyone got any questions? That's a good thing to put on at this point. Any questions from anyone? I know there's a bit of a delay in them coming through, so I'll give it a little while. What I'll also do is those 2 boxes I've flashed up, I will put on a downloadable PDF and put it in the Discord group, so you can go find that as well if you want to print them off. But like I say, they are the basic figures for structuring your workouts. So this went surprisingly well. I actually used Twitch. My son's going to be so proud of me and also horrified to find his mother's on Twitch, but never mind, that's okay. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to leave you all to go and rush and do one workout. But no, we'll come back and I will do another one of these on the diet side of it. I'm going to do some more of the little videos. I know a lot of you said the little tricep with the dumbbell sets that I put up were helpful, so I'll do some more little ones like that, little building blocks you can feed into your resistance work. Should I mix it? I'm going to make that bigger. Should I mix things like legs and arms? We'll go specific days for specific things. You can. If it gets to the point, right, if you're only doing 6 or 8 resistance exercises in your whole set, so like that's all the exercises you're doing, mixing them up is fine. If you've decided, right, these are the exercises I'm going to include in my workout, and there's 6 or 8 of them, you can put them all in one workout and that's fine. If it starts getting to the point where you've got like 16 different exercises that you want to put in your home workouts, breaking them up a little bit is a good way to do it. And also with things like rest days are important. It is important to rest muscles. That's when they repair, that's when they grow, especially with hypertrophy. So kind of focusing on legs one day, and then if you know you're going to work out the day after as well, you can be like, well, I'm just going to work on my arms. So that gives that muscle set kind of a rest as well, even though you're still working out. There's lots of different ways to break them up. Like I said, people do arm days, leg days, people do push-pull. There's 100 different ways to break them up. But yeah, basically, if there's no reason you have to, it's still going to be an effective workout. If you're putting in decent rest days anyway, there's not really a necessity there to do it. I mix mine all the time. I tend to. I do even amounts of legs, arms, back and chest in one day. So it is something you can look to do. And if it's kind of a thing with a time restriction on your workouts, or like I say, you're trying not to have as many rest days, but you don't want to overwork certain muscles, then absolutely it's a thing to look at, but don't worry about it. Don't be, it's a worthwhile training technique, but it's not something that is general home workouts you really need to think about too much. But yeah, if you were doing massive workouts where you're doing dozens of different exercises, I would say, yeah, we need to look and split these up. If you're not going in that heavy with your resistance work, don't worry about it too much, especially not if you're doing like 2, 3, even 4 days a week. You're still going to have enough rest days. The only thing I would say is if you do feel as if you've overworked a particular part of your body, give it some downtime. And that goes for everything. I mean, one of the things that always gets brought up is DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness, which is basically aching muscles from a workout. So you can kick in anything up to 72 hours after workout. People are like, oh, it's the next day. It's not always. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, yes, got away with it, I'm fine. And then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh. This is where your flex work it really comes into its fore. This is where drinking enough really comes into the fore, and where watching and just generally eating well. But like I say, I will do a whole other video on kind of basics of diet. But yeah, don't worry about it. And obviously, I know, Jake, you do a lot of cycling, which, because you're cycling outside rather than on a fixed gym bike, there is resistance work included in that. For all it's a cardio exercise, if you're going up and down the hills of Teesside, there's going to be some exercise. So like some resistance work in that. So what I would say is, if you've done a day where you've done loads of cycling, maybe don't do resistance work on your legs. That I do that with running. If I've been doing running and I've been across the farmers' fields, I tend not to do as much leg work because I don't need to. I've already kind of done it. So yeah, be aware of that. But yeah, don't worry about the rest of it too much. It is also yeah. Although we had this discussion on Discord not long ago about whether you prefer to work out in too hot temperatures or too cold temperatures. And I actually do better in slightly colder temperatures. And I said I was going to look into the science of it, and I still haven't. But I will. I will try and look into the science of it. But okay, guys, I am going to let you go. This will be available as a recording, and the little graphics that I put up will appear as a PDF download in the Discord server as well. So thank you for coming. We'll do one of these on food types and diet, probably in a